The 4-day working week has hit the mainstream, and it's now up to governments, business leaders, and trade unions to work together to make it a reality. The COVID-19 pandemic has thrown the world of work up in the air, offering a much needed opportunity to rethink how we work. So you get the idea. There's a bunch of people who are saying, while we have this COVID situation throwing people out of jobs, workplaces are in flux. It's not exactly clear what's going on. Let's take advantage of the opportunity and shorten the work week. This will do good to our civilization. They also say it'll do good to the climate crisis as well. All kinds of advantages. So why not? Actually, what do you think, man?
I have so many thoughts about this. First of all, I'm second generation in a family business, in a service-oriented business. So we didn't really stop for the whole COVID crisis. We basically service appliances.
You are essential.
We're essential.
Essential people. Essential.
Not a very sexy business, but a very important business. And here's what I think. For sure, we don't need to be working so much. Okay, first of all, pretty much everyone's expenses went down since all this began. We're not running around. We're not shopping all the time. Second of all, if we're going to have a good life that isn't full of war, we're going to need to have meals with our family, speak with one another, learn how to be together.
What do you mean? What do you mean by war? By war, you mean that we're always at war with ourselves on our day-to-day?
We're at war with ourselves. We're at war with people in our family. We're at war at work. We're at war in society. We're in war between countries. We're filled with an evil society where everyone is just at war with everyone all the time. So we don't have time to be with our families. We don't have time to exercise. We don't have time to have leisure time because we're constantly working. Anyway, it's a great concept. Okay. But who's writing the article? Why are they writing the article? What's their agenda? Let's just leave that aside. Let's leave any kind of politics aside and just entertain the concept, because for sure, if we see something in the mass media, there's some kind of agenda behind it. Who wants this? Why do they want it?
We're going to try to discuss this from a deeper perspective, one that takes human evolution into account, one that takes our accountability to the laws of nature into account, and not one that is driven by politics or economic interests or other kinds of human-based agendas. We're trying to understand where humanity is evolving. Let's enter the conversation of this post-capitalist idea from this perspective. Human evolution, where is it going? What's happening today? And how do we look at what's happening from this perspective? Okay, so no,
this
do you buy that? Do you buy that?
This would be the story that should be in the Guardian, not the 4-hour work week. It's like, when a boat goes through the water.
Yeah.
And after the boat goes through the water, there's like ripples behind the boat. They're called a wake. Because like the Guardian is writing a story about like the size of the wake and how big it is and what is a wake. Meanwhile, they're missing the whole thing. There's a boat moving somewhere, and there's people on the boat, and there's a destination they're going to. And meanwhile, everyone's on the side like measuring the weight.
Yes, and it's not just a shorter work week. There's a lot of things that are being weighed and taken into consideration, like a basic income, universal basic income, the idea of giving each and every person a certain basic income regardless of the labor, regardless of the work. There's the idea of other services that to fulfill the basic needs of people that should be also basic rights without the need to pay for them, such as medicine, such as that is healthcare, such as housing, clothing, education. So all of that is being
all the basic animal kind of needs: shelter, food, health.
That's an interesting
animal existence.
That's an interesting idea, title, like an interesting definition for it. Here, call it
running for political office. Yeah. I will ensure all of your animal needs are met.
Here's what I want to say about I do want to say something about the politics of it. Mostly, the public demands from the elected leaders in whatever country, it doesn't matter, to bring things back to how they were. And the whole argument between left and right today is about who's going to be able to bring things back to how they were. Did you think about that? So It's basically the right will tell you, you know, I will bring back jobs and
Make
and do
America
it
great again.
and do it this way, yeah. And then the left will tell you, I will bring back jobs by, you know, ending the pandemic in this way or that way, and we'll do it more responsibly or better, and then we'll bring back all the jobs. And the public demands to go back to 2019. The left leaders on the left or leaders on the right give them their agenda for how to go back to 2019. But guess what? 2019 isn't coming back, man. It's just not coming back. And that, when you start taking that into account, then you gotta think about, okay, is it really jobs that we need to bring back? Is it really an increase in GDP that we need to bring back? Is it really more consumption like we had before that we need to bring back? Is it really more pollution and air travel that we had before that we need to bring back? Is it sending our kids to the same outdated 300-year-old based education systems that we need to bring back? So when you look at, you know, where we are in this pivotal point, in this kind of turning point that COVID puts us in, these questions become relevant. These questions become it's ridiculous not to ask these questions. It's short-sighted to propose solutions that are based on bringing everything back to what it was.